Hello, beautiful people of my country. You're welcome back to Heritage Dialogues podcast. If it's your first time here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our other social media platforms, and join us for another exciting session. Today's discussion is raw, uncomfortable, yet necessary. We'll be looking at how the society is a reinforcer of rape culture, how it has grown, how the trivialization of rape began, the things that made it survive up to this very moment, and what we must do as a society to dismantle it. Rape culture didn't just surface one day. It was constructed brick by brick across many generations. Its origin lies in the patriarchal traditions where women were viewed as property and not as people. Before the modern legal systems, globally and locally, rape was not actually viewed as a violation of a woman's body. It was viewed as a theft against a father, a husband, or a clan. Hello? What happened to the custodian of the yash? So back then, women's worth was tied to purity, and when rape happened, silence was preferred to shame because the perpetrators were left to walk around, however they liked. But the woman was constantly being, disturbed, shamed, and even neglected over incidences like this, something that was never her fault. It was a system that let the perpetrator walk around freely while going after the victim. Everybody wants to bash the victim. Everybody wants to show their sense of self-righteousness. Everybody sees it as a moment to show that their own daughters were better. It's looking like what is happening these days, Abby. Yes, because it travels straight from those generations down to this one. Perpetrators were protected if they belonged to the right class, right family, right tribe, or even have some certain type of connections. They easily get away with it. The only time justice was ever served against rape was when the woman actually belongs to, a well-to-do family in the society. Pathetic, right? The injustice from those days was what laid the foundation for what we now refer to as rape trivialization. It is the belief that sexual violence can be ignorable, excusable, or they are even negotiable. Hey. And if you are wondering how this thing has survived many generations, don't let it surprise you that a lot of us, men, women, children, parents, grandparents, have actually supported the growth of this thing. We are the reason this thing has survived many generations. Because tell me why we make jokes that sexualize women, and including the women that are being sexualized, everybody opens their teeth. What's funny? Did we forget about the songs and movies that portrays coercion as romance? We joyfully watch them, gist about them. We sing the songs happily and even vibe to it. Which vibe? The proverbs that say a woman's silence is equivalent to consent or agreement. Like, I don't get it. And what about those institutions that demand witnesses for private crimes, or the communities that blame a woman's dressing for a man's violence? What about those police officers that ask, are you sure you didn't enjoy it? Really? And this constant minimization becomes normal. What was once scandalous now becomes expected. Rape has now shifted from violence to a debate topic. And the thing about debates, they are easier than accountability. We now live in a world where victims must prove that they are perfect victims. We demand evidence for private crimes. Just imagine, we defend teenage boys with "don't destroy his future." Families will beg the victims, "just let it go, he's your uncle, don't bring shame to the family." I pour you spit. Social media users now mock disclosure stories for likes and retweets, and then the clerics, they will ask the victims what they did to trigger the perpetrator. Like, I don't get it. This is the foundation. This is where it began. The society has become so numb to these things. We have become insensitive to the effects of these occurrences. We protect the perpetrator. We let them walk around and judge the victims more harshly than the perpetrator. Like, what was that even hard? This is the emotional landscape of rape culture, where empathy is selective and justice is optional. People have become numb because society rewards silence and punishes truth. And victims who come forward to share their truth, to live in their own truth, are now being, casted aside or even being judged. Because once they come forward, they are going to face a second assault. Of course, community judgment. And rape culture is not only powered by rapists, it is powered by families. Families that have aunts that will be like, close your legs. They'll be like, okay, boys will be boys. Really? Boys will be boys. They keep shouting, protect the girl child, protect the girl child. Against who? From what? The boy child you refuse to raise properly. Really? Then the religious and traditional institutions cannot be left out. They are the ones who demand forgiveness before justice is served. They are the ones who they settle rape cases with apologies rather than prosecution. They use marriage as a solution rather than therapy. Schools and universities, we're talking about administrators who cover up, cases like this just because they want to protect the institution's name. Really? And then another thing is that the streets, people from the streets where victims live, or people on social media, they excuse this men's behavior and go after the woman. And the media now comes out with a big news headline: sex scandal, instead of sexual violence. Run, the perpetrator is on the run. And it is important for us to note that there is no such thing as a passive bystander, because every time we ignore, every time we shrug, every time we deflect, every time we twist the narrative, we reinforce, knowingly or unknowingly, the same culture that we claim to hate. Rape culture was actually built, and we can unbuild it. Let's start by bulldozing it with what we actually teach to our children, okay? Let's teach the girls about consent, not fear. Teach the boys about emotional intelligence and not entitlement. And then in our institutions, we need to make stronger rules, stronger laws, forbidding this thing to the tiniest bit of it. Zero tolerance policies, what happened to them? I mean, some institutions have zero tolerance policies, but how frequently do you use it? Imagine, parade. Let's challenge harmful norms. All these rape jokes, let's stop it. And all this little sexualization of young children, like at a very tender age. One big bro is in the street is referring to that 5-year-old as my wife, and everybody is laughing. Yeah, but that kidding. What's funny? Or you want God to remove your front teeth? Don't laugh at that kind of thing again. Let's center the survivors. Believe them, protect their identity, and protect them from further assault. And then we should have the habit of shifting this responsibility back to the perpetrator. Let's not forget to ask, hello, why did you choose violence? And the people reinforcing it, people using those little nonsense phrases to justify it and being like, oh yeah, men will be men. That's why he has to use force to take something from someone. Really? Let's do away with those kind of things, because it will do us more good. More. Let's not forget that a society that has refused to see cannot heal, because rape culture thrives in darkness, in silence, and in denial. Let's build a community that faces the truth head on, confront its contradictions, and protect their daughters, not from the male child they didn't raise well, but from the thoughts of believing that it is completely normal and they do not have autonomy over their body. Then healing begins. Because a nation that trivializes rape destroys its own soul, but the one that confronts rape, condemns it, and holds perpetrators accountable rebuilds its humanity. This is Heritage Dialogues. Thank you for listening and choosing courage. And don't forget to like our videos, share them, subscribe to this channel, of course, if you haven't done that, and follow us on all other social media platforms. Follow our TikTok, follow our Instagram, and connect with us on Facebook. Thank you.